Martin Muse is where everything is awesome, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, I, of course, can't even muster up the energy to get ticked off about these things, but wow, you know, this timeline is very odd. I guess that's what I can say about that because we have a new adaptation of Narnia, which apparently is all about rock and roll. And there is some new news on that front. Now, it's reported by Narnia Web. I was having trouble sourcing the actual um, speech that was being referred to, but it does seem that it has been reported enough by reputed sites that I think that it is legitimate. I just got a little bit annoyed that I couldn't actually go directly to it. I always prefer to have the primary source because, as we know, a lot of times people like to start rumors or just say something and everyone goes, "Oh my gosh." And then you realize, wait a second, there's no source for this. All right. Well, look who it is. It is Peepers One. Howdy. How are you? Well, I am doing very well. Very well indeed. Thank you for being here on Miss Martin Muses, where we are talking about the news about the new Narnia. Now, when we heard that Greta Gerwig, if I hope I'm saying her name correctly, was doing Narnia, I think we were all a little bit skeptical, mainly because she is not a Christian, and not that you have to be a Christian to adapt The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'm not entirely sure that the ones that were doing it in the 2000s were or not. I honestly don't know, but they definitely took it seriously and they definitely reached out to people. I remember I was one of them. They reached out to people in the Christian community. I was token Catholic. So it is a thing. But looking at her other work, I'm just not entirely sure that she would be able to adapt it because, like it or not, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, all of the Narnia stories, rather, I sometimes use them interchangeably, probably because Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the most famous one, but definitely they're all very good. And the first one that they're doing is The Magician's Nephew. They are a literal Christian allegory, so much literally so that it was not Tolkien's cup of tea. He did not believe that you should have ever a direct allegory to Christ the Lord, for example. And definitely and absolutely, frankly, the Aslan is Jesus. When you look at it in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, it is straight from Good Friday all the way to Easter Sunday, but it just happens in a few minutes or so. So definitely it is an allegory for that. And we see the fall with who is it? Gosh, Jada. I would be the biggest liar on the planet if I said that I knew these stories inside and out. But definitely the White Witch, who used to scare the living daylights out of me when I was young. We had a cartoon, which frankly was a pretty good adaptation, that scared the daylights out of me, that witch. And I think that if I were younger, the witch from the movie version in 2006, I believe it was, that would scare me as well. But either way, she's going to factor into this first movie in The Magician's Nephew. It is the professor from Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe when he is young, and a very poignant tale. I remember being very moved by the ending of it. I mean, come on. They're all called Daughters of Eve, Sons of Adam, Father Christmas, all of those things that are in there. I am really suspecting that they are going to pretend it is not so. They're going to pretend no one ever claimed it was Christian allegory. Yeah, kind of similar to the way people tried to say things about J.R.R. Tolkien. And it's like, well, yeah, the only person that said these things was the actual writer. But, what does he know about the own work that he wrote? Though, of course, again, Tolkien was not writing the way that C.S. Lewis did. And also, the Lion, the Witch, and the Narnia books, they were intended for children. While The Hobbit was intended for children, definitely The Lord of the Rings was not. So, anyway, so we have this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the only source I could truly find, though they do put it as quotes. I just very surprised that they did not put them as a link, or at least to a video or something. So I don't know. Maybe if I had the energy, I would ask Narnia Web, but I'm not going to. So if it turns out that this is not correct, or if someone does have the primary source that I can directly link to, please let me know. Well, let's go through it. Let's go to it. Let's go to the article which mentioned it, which was from Narnia Web. See, discussing films talked about it too, which makes me think it's a good source because they are a good source for things. Now, already, Narnia Web is one of my favorite websites because they don't have advertisements, and advertisements always come up and say, "Hey, since you live right here near this location," it's like doxing stuff. It's ridiculous. Peepers One said, "Yes, the first person to make the Narnia was Christian." Oh, for sure, yes. The movies. Oh, he was. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just didn't know. So, but I didn't want to say so. So you could definitely see that in there. And I'm not saying again that you can't make something, that you have to be a Christian to do it right, but it helps. There's just certain aspects, certain nuances, certain ways that you respect the work. But on the other hand, Peter Jackson's not a Catholic and he was able to do the Lord of the Rings. So go figure. I just looked it up. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Dig It Outlaw. Hello, hello, hello. Well, it is possible. If you are willing to stay true to the source material, then you can't help but adapt it. But in any case, yeah, Dig It Outlaw, we're talking about the new Narnia. And it's very obnoxious. We've been getting some really weird quotes out of here. And I didn't mind. Actually, in many ways, I liked the adaptation that Greta Gerwig, if I'm saying it wrong, please tell me, did of Little Women. I thought that it was very interesting. And it was no better or worse than it was in the 1994 adaptation. So I don't have anything against her. And I think Barbie was a good movie. I understood where she was coming from. Like when someone is writing for their audience, you can't really have grief. All right. And it was written for women, and it was written for women and certain kinds of women and other kinds of women. It was definitely well made. Most of it was pretty good in the Barbie thing. I did a review of it, which I talked about what's the good, the bad, and the cognitive dissonance. I think in many ways that in the Barbie movie, she touched on themes that she didn't realize she was highlighting. It is Snorted Poopus Cooper. Hello, hello, humans and other critics. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Everyone is saying hello to each other. Hello, Commander. It's not Narnia, save name only. Well, exactly. Yeah, I guess when I say the new Narnia, that's not correct. It's an oxymoron. You can't have a new Narnia because, well, it just is the way it is. So here we go. Says IMAX held its first Investors Day presentation in New York. And I've looked up the Investors Day stuff and I couldn't find the quote. Where CEO Rich Gelfond shared new details about Netflix and Greta Gerwig's adaptation of The Magician's Nephew, scheduled for release next November. So they're kind of going for the whole Christmas thing here. We'll see. The Magician's Nephew, okay, in November. His most revealing comment centered on the film's musical direction. Here we go. According to Gelfond, Gerwig's Narnia will feature a contemporary rock influenced sound. Yes, look at that again. It will feature a contemporary rock influenced sound. Now, The Magician's Nephew, it is definitely not taking place during the era of rock and roll. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that was set in the 40s. Where was The Magician's Nephew set? So when was it? When was The Magician's Nephew set? Let's see what Google can tell you. Everyone Google Nephew. I think it was the late 19th century, but I do not know exactly. But I can tell you what, it definitely was not a contemporary rock influence sound. Oh, it literally is in the 1900s. It is set during the summer of 1900, at the dawn of the 20th century. Wait. This doesn't make sense. Okay, but this is an AI thing because this thing that I'm looking at right now says that this Getter Gurig one is going to be set in the 1950s, which is absolutely impossible because The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was set in the 1940s. Wait a second. Is it really? Is this is the Netflix thing being set in 1950 for The Magician's Nephew? This is the first time I'm hearing about it, but then again, I have not been on top of it. Yikes, if that's the case. Ooh. Oh dear. I'm going to look this up because it's now coming up. It's coming up everywhere that people are saying it is set in 1950. These leaked set photos from the recent filming for Netflix's adaptation appear to show Diggory and Polly in early 1950s garb surrounded by 1950s cars. What the? Surely not. Oh gosh, this is getting worse by the second. Maybe it's a good thing that I haven't actually been following this. Wow. Yeah, it was not 1900 AD. Yeah, everyone's reporting it that it's set in 1955. Wow. If anyone can help me out, if you source this for me, because this is getting worse and worse. Oh, look who it is. It is Salty Traveling Sea. F this director. F this cast. F the movie. Yes, except for the kids. Because remember, kids, not their fault. But the grown-ups, they know better. Wow. It's all true. Really? You see, I have not been on top of this. Maybe I should have. I've been living life. Wow. Okay, so they're moving it from 1900 to 1955. So if that is the case, if they do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that'll be set what in the 90s? Oh no. No. Everyone's saying good afternoon to each other. This is a mess. Now, I feel better about myself because I no longer subscribe to Netflix. Though, no judgment if someone does, because hey, if we were all traced where everyone's spending their money, it all gets to these weirdos, anyways. Oh, yeah, they destroyed Tolkien. C.S. Lewis was always next. Yeah, of course it was. I think it's very interesting that they are going for everything that is sacred, everything that is traditional, whether it's to people's homeland, whether it is to people's religion. And of course, we all know it only happens in one certain religion. For some reason, it's perfectly okay to dump all over Christianity, but never another one. If we all know what to which I'm referring. Well, this is getting worse and worse. Of course, though, technically they can never destroy it, but they definitely can be vomiting all over it. And that sounds exactly like they are doing. And that's all that this is. This is vomit. Yikes. Oh, I had heard someone had said, look at the pictures. And at first, when I looked at it, I didn't look too closely, I suppose. I just saw the little boy running around. Oh man, because the whole plot point of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is they were out there because of the Blitz. What are they going to be doing out there with the professor and the other one in the if they do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? That just changes things. changes things with the plot with his mother. It just changes everything. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ah, a political system. That's true. Just a moment of we were right. My whole life, second half of my life, 2/3 of my life, I just got grief after grief after grief in the 90s. Like, "Oh, you Catholics and your crusades. Ooh, you guys are so evil." And it's like, yeah, I learned a bit of history. Now, I think rightly there were some apologies made by John Paul II about some of the war crimes that happened, and some did happen during the Crusades, but I digress. Oh boy. Wow. I shouldn't be Googling anything anymore. So, anyways, it's supposed to be set in 1900. So now you're going to have rock and roll. Well, I guess it makes a little more sense if there's rock and roll in it. Because if you're setting it in 1955, rock and roll is just getting started. So what's going to be like Elvis Presley? Are they going to be playing La Bamba? They're going to be playing. I mean, the Beatles aren't even on the scene. You know, I'm thinking Richie Valens. Okay. Oh, wow. According to Gelfand, Gerwig's Narnia will feature contemporary rock influenced sound, which sounds just unbelievable in the sense of ridiculous. The film score is being composed by music producer Mark Ronson, who recently worked on Barbie. Okay, but composers can do stuff in many different styles. That's what they do. Producer Amy Pascal. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to see a trend here. Oh dear. Made a similar remark in 2024 when she infamously described the project as all about rock and roll. Yes, a thing about Jesus and the fall and healing a mother and the fruit and all of that. Yeah, that's all about rock and roll. When she did that, I remember seeing the video clip, and the person interviewing her had this, what the look on her face. It was classic. I hope there's disco in the 1950s. Well, apparently they don't know anything about anything at this point. Says Snortopupus Kuber. It seems to me that a certain religion of peace was invading other lands first. Exactly. Yeah. But that wasn't the way that it was portrayed, even in history books. Studying history, that was one of the things that made me change my religion. You see, if you all had been more honest in the history books, maybe I wouldn't have had to change. It is Buddy Hepburn. Hello. Thank you for being here. The sixth book literally starts in the summer of 1900. Why are they using the publication year of 1955 instead? Oh, yeah, precisely. It's just nonsensical. Nonsensical. And if you don't know the theme of the story, I mean, it's definitely not rock and roll. And if you want to do something about rock and roll, well, do something about rock and roll. There's a lot of material there. But my gosh, I guess I missed it. That's what happens when you have life hitting you from 10 million different directions. Wow. I thought I was going to be just talking about the rock and roll, and now I'm all traumatized by what they're doing with the setting. Whoa. All right, I just did a quick search on this. The main themes of The Magician's Nephew revolve around creation versus corruption, temptation and free will, the origin of evil, and the power of choice, often paralleling biblical narratives like Genesis. You see, I told you so. Yes, I did, precious. Whew. Children Diggory and Polly accidentally bring Evil, the White Witch, into the newly created world of Narnia, learning about consequences, faith, and responsible power through Aslan's benevolent guidance. You mean like Jesus? Because they're going to tell us that Aslan is not Jesus. Just wait for it. Key ideas include the beauty of good creation, the fallibility of human curiosity, and the redemptive power of self sacrifice and loyalty. Creation of the Creator. It explores the vibrant, joyful beginning of Narnia through Aslan's song, contrasting it with the inherent potential for evil. Diggory's temptation is to take the apple to heal his mother. Mirrors Eve's temptation in Eden, highlighting how small choices have huge consequences. And the origin of evil shows how evil enters the world through flawed human desires. Uncle Andrew's meddling, Diggory's desire to help his mother, not just brute force. Emphasizes the importance of trusting authority like Aslan and the joy found in obedience versus the pitfalls of selfish ambition. Even after falling to temptation, Diggory's selfless act with the apple brings healing and redemption, foreshadowing later Narnian stories. Yeah, that sounds all about rock and roll. Absolutely. This is just like totally. You know what they're going to do. I think by trying to set it later, it will be for a modern audience. And I think we're going to have Orange Man bad kind of characters in this. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I set up my audio. I did set up my audio. All right, so everyone's saying hello to each other. Oh, well, speaking of someone to say hello to, it is Nordporial. Hello. Hi, Teresa in chat. Hello. Let's see. Nordporial says, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the one book read to me in school that I actively listened to. Yeah, I love these books. Now, I didn't read the later ones when I was a kid. I think the last one I read might have been The Silver Chair. It got a little weird at the end, but I know where he was going with it. Remember how they removed Christianity from the Wrinkle in Time movie, says Salty Traveling Sea. Oh, I did not know this. Yeah, this is dialed to 11 the same way. Wow. But you see, it's just so silly because what's the story without the Christianity? I mean, this is one that literally is an allegory. I mean, it's so on the nose, it would bloody it up if you got any closer. Nordporial says, there were Christian themes. Was that the criticism that Bree responded to? Possibly could have been. I do not know much about The Wrinkle in Time, but none of that surprises me one little bit. And it wasn't successful. It wasn't successful. I mean, you got to stay true to the author's vision. And I said this earlier when I was mentioning about Peter Jackson, that even when he changed a few things, except for what he did for Faramir, which was a crime, we mainly forgave him because he stuck to the beats. He kept the main characters true to themselves, except for Faramir. And then he kept Tolkien's vision, his themes. Like he knew it, he understood it, even if he himself did not embrace it, and he presented it. And that is what an artist should do when they are adapting something. You have to be true to it. Otherwise, it's not, or just do your own thing. Wow. Gosh, we haven't even gotten to the most recent comment, and look at this. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. Nordporial says, agreed, especially on an inaugural adaptation and keeping the name. Yeah. Phew. I mean, it was already in trouble just when I heard what it was and who was adapting it. You would have to be disingenuous, I guess, or dishonest if you were to say that she is not a filmmaker of talent. Unlike a lot of these types, she actually is. She knows how to make a movie. She knows how to direct. She knows how to put something together. She has skills. They are just misused. Norporial says, otherwise change the name and simply acknowledge the source as inspiration, like Wheel of Amazon Prime. Did they do that though for Wheel of Amazon Prime? I thought that they sold it in the beginning as the Wheel of Time. It's an adaptation of the Wheel of Time, and then did the bait and switch. All right, they just like to play at other people's sandboxes, says Betty Hepburn, and change things to make it their own. Yeah, not just to make it their own, but it's their own form of vandalism. It is their own form of desecration, frankly. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. All right, so now we're continuing. We're back to the CEO of IMAX. Is it IMAX? Yeah. This is a real blockbuster movie that's being made for IMAX and Netflix. Yeah, it's being released first at IMAX. And I guess I do have to talk a little bit about why I am so excited about it. Rather, I do have to talk a little about why I'm so excited about it. This is not your mother's or your grandmother's Narnia. You know what I want? I want my mother's Narnia. My mother was a child when the Narnia books were coming out because that's Narnia. It's as ridiculous as saying this is not your great 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 grandmother's Pride and Prejudice or great great great. It's it's not Pride and Prejudice then. This is not your father's Star Wars. I mean, it's not Star Wars. It's just the most ridiculous thing to say. And it's like dissing your grandmother and your mother. I thought these people were feminists and all that. It's like, it's chronological snobbery. C.S. Lewis actually called that term that. I've read more of C.S. Lewis's apologetics, Christian apologetics works than I have his other stuff. But yes, chronological snobbery. If you think that you know better than everyone else that's walked the face of the earth. Really? Really? He has a really good quote about that. I need to find it. And G.K. Chesterton as well. But, they all kind of were sent from the same thing. Same cut from the same cloth. Salty Traveling Sea. Yes, the whole first season it was an adaptation. Second season it's another turning. Jordan is our sandbox BS. Aha. That's what they do. It's the pattern. First season good, second season bleh. Did that with House of the Dragon, did that with The Witcher. They did that with The Wheel of Time. They did that before it actually came out, but I think everyone noticed within 3 seconds of The Wheel of Time season 1 episode 1 that this isn't going to be an adaptation. No. And another turning. Don't give me that crap. Yeah, I'm just starting on my full throttle coverage of The Wheel of Time now that I'm finished, because I can talk about anything about it that I want to, because I can spoil it all. But I won't, because Nordporial's in the chat and I want people to read it too. But it's excellent stuff. Okay, so they did do that. Now, I want to be fair to an adaptation of, was it Persuasion? No. It was Mansfield Park in the 1990s. From the very beginning, they said this is going to be very loosely based on it. It's going to be this, that, and this. And so I was like, okay, I can respect that. They didn't even try, even with the promotional material, they didn't even try to pretend it was. Oh, gosh. Look what they did with the Persuasion. The 2022, 2023. Okay. Norporial says, because they can't create anything themselves and are riding the coattails of greater men. Yeah. But I still think it has iconoclasm aspects to it as well. I want Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Tom Bombadil and all. Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it? But of course, we don't want anyone to touch Lord of the Rings anymore because we know what they will do to it. Norporial, I like your father's root beer. Haha. It's not, it's like, I like it's not your father's root beer. Interesting. I love my father's root beer. All right. Now, Salty Traveling Sea says the objective is to remember the hero archetypes and the established iconography of the Western canon. How else are the kids to become global citizens? I mean, that's why there was so much pushback, and there still is, about people that like traditionalism, whether in your religion. I mean, gee, you should just see the wars that are going on in the Catholic Church over music when we have the greatest music that's ever been written. Why don't we use it? The fact that I sung more of the traditional Catholic music in a public school than in a church is absurd. Look at what they've done to art. Look at what they do. Well, they go around and deface great works of art. Van Gogh. Heck, even natural works of art when those idiots went after Stonehenge, for crying out loud. But yes, how will they become global citizens? And Luke Skywalker is one of our heroes. He's like an American hero. We don't have the big long mythology that other countries do. But look how they're also going after that mythology. Everything that's traditional in England, St. George and the Dragon, Arthur, King Arthur, they're doing all of that. And it's just wrong. Oh wait, for some reason it did doubled it. Agreeableness. I saw that Mansfield Park crap movie. Yes, it was terrible. I laughed all the way through it, but they never deceived us. They never tried to pretend it was anything other than what it was. I mean, don't these folks know that we're gonna see what they've done? I think maybe in the back of their heads, they hope that once they sucker you in, they do the bait and switch, that maybe you're going to stick around. But we live in the age of the internet, for crying out loud. Within the first 3 seconds of what we got from the Rings of Prime, when we found out what it was really going to be, everyone was like, oh, hell no. So this new Narnia, so Snortopoopas Kruber, is made for the modern audience. Except, of course, I can testify to this because I have little people in my life. Part of my job is little people. Guess what they're all reading the hell out of? Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, as is. They love it. They love that. You know, my niece and nephews loved it back in the day. And hell, look at Beauty and the Beast. If you have not seen the stage version of Beauty and the Beast, shame on you, first of all. But second of all, it is so amazing. It was a packed house from the floor to the rafters. Children, all these little girls dressed up like Belle in her ball gown and holding a book, pretending to be Belle, and with their little roses and things. People like traditional stuff. They like it. Your grandmothers, your mothers. Check this out. Talking about Beauty and the Beast here. There were mothers and daughters dressed as Belle. They were matching. So I guess it was their mother's Belle. It's just, I don't know why they think that it's a selling point. Look at the original Narnia movie, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the one that came out in 2006, the 2000s. They knew who their target audience were, and they went for us hard, and it was successful as a result. You sell to your audience. Who is the audience for this? I mean, Narnia, to be honest, that's something that should nowadays be made by like Angel Studios. They've hit and miss stuff, but it's a Christian. They're Christians, all right? It's Christian stuff. It's Christian stuff, though, that can be enjoyed if you don't hold to those beliefs. Well, in the same way that I can read other things, other works of literature that are based on other religions and still enjoy it. It's possible. I mean, but still the target audience is Christians and Christianity. Little people, munchkins. Well, you know what I mean. I'm a teacher, though. Obviously, I'm not in a contract right now. That's why I'm so happy and why my blood pressure went down. Buddy Hepburn says they are starting with The Magician's Nephew as it's a prequel to whatever changes they make here will be carried over and more through the rest of the series. Very good point, because there's a reason why usually people start off with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because that's the one that people know the best. Though chronologically, Magician's Nephew is first. Yes. And then they'll say, when they butcher the Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Can you imagine what they're gonna do to Susan? Oh my gosh. I just can't. I just can't. That hurts. Oh, that's despicable. You're right. You're absolutely right. And then they'll say, well, we had to do that because since we changed this, then we have to change that. Oh, it's like I like the 2005 film. The BB series from the late 80s is good too. Yes, my Steve, who's often on the channel, he will praise that a lot. He'll say that it had obviously limitations, but it was very faithful. Salty Traveling Sea says, across all cultures, countries, at a conscious and unconscious level, humans recognize the archetypes Joseph Campbell wrote about. Updating to reprogram people turns everyone off. Darn right. It's universal. It's what we call like the good dreams. It's like it's almost like it's written on the human heart. That's why you can see literature from all over the world from the dawn of time having similar themes because it's just part of the human existence. And yes, the archetypes are there for a reason because they mean something and they are truth and they teach us something about the human condition. So when you take an archetype and misuse it, mispresent it, or stomp all over it, it's like, I don't know, it's this equivalent of going up to a chalkboard and running your fingernails down it. You're just like, something's wrong. You know, it's just right. Yeah, very good call. Yeah. Yeah, you heard it here first, everybody. That's exactly what they're going to do. Exactly and precisely. My gosh. Best chat ever. Thank you all. You guys are great. Man, I haven't even gotten to the most ridiculous part of this article. I tell you what, there's going to be some information here, but I've called it once, I've called it twice, and I'm going to call it one more time just for fun. They are going to start the propaganda that it's not Christian. C.S. Lewis never said it was Christian. Look at this quote from this letter where he says, well, I won't tell you who Aslan is, or something like that. And the letter I'm referring to, I am definitely paraphrasing it. It was, he was telling a little girl, and he's like, but guess who comes at Christmas time? And guess this and all that, where he's proving it's Aslan. They're just going to pull things right out of their butts to prove that he's not Jesus. Let's see. Salty Traveling Sea. I said it, episode 1, season 1 of The Wheel of Time. Those small modern audience changes in an adaptation become fractal and utterly mutate the source material. Absolutely. Well, and never discount the need for beauty. Again, I use that example of Beauty and the Beast. And you also see it when you go to Disney World and stuff, where you see all these little girls dressed like Belle, or if they're smart, they're dressed like Belle because she's the best. But even Elsa and stuff, that was very beautiful. Very beautiful, and about the love of a sisters, and aesthetically beautiful. They weren't ugly. They weren't uglified. I always say one of the great crimes of the casting of The Wheel of Time, beyond the obvious, is they uglified them. Either they chose ugly actors or they made good-looking actors ugly. They made the heroes of legend ugly and weird. People aren't drawn to that. There's a reason why people line up for hours to look at the Sistine Chapel, to look at the Mona Lisa, to look at the great art. If you've ever been to the Louvre, my gosh. Oh, dear. Salty Traveling Sea, I hope some 400-pound purple-haired they, them, C.S. Lewis scholar tells us why his work wasn't Christian. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all just disillusioned. Yeah. Or if C.S. Lewis had lived today, he wouldn't have even been a Christian. Salty Lewis, okay. Wait, so I say Salty Lewis. I can't read. All right. Let's see. Betta Hepburn says Lewis actually never wanted film or TV adaptations of Narnia. He thought it was best read and spoken out like radio drama instead. That does not surprise me. If I, for some reason, were ever to write a great work of fiction, I don't think I would ever want it to be adapted unless I had some really weird contract where I had complete creative control. But I don't know if it works like that. Oh yeah, this is oh hello, it is Chris York 95. Thank you for bringing this up for us. In your world, I have another name. Definitely isn't alluding to Jesus. Can't spin that one around. Yes, that is from the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Oh yes, you know me. You'll find me, but I'm known as another name. Oh, they'll try. They'll try. They'll say, "Well, do they ever actually say Jesus in Narnia? Do they ever say the word Aslan is Jesus?" Well, then, yeah. Oh, gee. Well, of course they will. Yeah, and welcome everyone coming. If this is your first time, please like, share, and subscribe early and often. I like to talk about good entertainment. I'm also reading through the Harry Potter book chapter by chapter. I'll be doing the what you call it. I will be doing the not the Wheel of Time. Maybe I will do the Wheel of Time though. If I do the Wheel of Time chapter by chapter, well, I'll be done when I'm 80. But the the Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'll be doing that. I'll also be doing Wuthering Heights because they're about to butcher that. I love all of those things. And if there's anything you all want or anything about what you would like to use, please let me know. All right, so here we go with the quote. Oh, wait, did we get there? Oh, wait, we got to where it says your grandmother's Narnia. The music, oh, gee. I just don't, I just can't. The music in it is unbelievably contemporary music, which IMAX fans like. Oh my gosh. You know what IMAX fans like? When you show Apollo 13 on IMAX and they play that great score, that's what they like. They like what goes with the movie, you dumbasses. I'm not going to say specifically, but things like Pink Floyd and The Doors. People are strange. Oh gosh, I don't want to give them ideas. So you want to go to the show? Really? Oh dear, we don't need no education. You know, that kind of music which people go to see in IMAX. You are an idiot. How are you the CEO of IMAX and you're saying that out loud? You know, the kind of thing people go to see in IMAX when they show, well, they once showed Beauty and the Beast on IMAX. Yeah, or I already said Apollo 13, Lord of the Rings. You know what? People are going to be going to see the Lord of the Rings when it comes out in cinema again in January, and they're going to be like, man, what this really should have had was Pink Floyd, because that's what I like in IMAX. No, you like what you're seeing. Oh dear. Okay, attendees at the in-person event were shown a brief clip from Greta Gerwig and Gelfand described visiting the enormous Cartoon Studio set where the project is being shot across multiple stages and locations. The movie itself is being filmed at the largest soundstage in Europe. I went on the set where there were hundreds of people and multiple green screens. Of course it is. And it's filmed at multiple locations. You're going to see a clip in a second if you can, and if you can't see how passionate Greta is about it, because it's all about Greta, then you'll have to wait to see the movie to see how awesome it is. Notice who they're not mentioning. There's like a name I haven't seen yet in any of these quotes. Could it be C.S. Lewis? Gelfand voiced strong confidence in the project overall, saying that Gerwig's Narnia film and IMAX's partnership with Netflix, it's really going to change the world. And create a cultural event. Well, you know what? I have zero doubt that there's going to be a cultural event. Oh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he says this is one where my team has to hold me back. It's really going to change the world. Yes, it's going to change the world. That'll take 30 years, yeah. Thoughts of Traveling Sea, spectacle, empty, stripped of any soul or deeper meaning based on the author's intention, spectacle. Hard pass. Most people, says Buddy Hepburn, in the age group they are targeting, like hip hop and K-pop, not Pink Floyd or The Doors. 50s music, doubt it. That's right. That's absolutely right. And if you want to make a movie for folks that like that, well, then do that. Make a movie on Grand Theft Auto and have all of that kind of music. It's Snortapoopas Kruber says it's time for an aging bear to go beddies. Take care, every human. Well, thank you, Snortapoopas Kruber. It is great to see you. Always great to see you. And rest well. I'm going to rest like a baby tonight. I had a very long day. I was with the orchestra all day, and that takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of mental energy to perform. Salty Traveling Sea says, the Eternals. Imagine how many lives it will save. You're right. You're right. Oh my gosh. Oh. All right, let's get this garbage off. Not Narnia.net. I think they're fine. I think they're, well, actually, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know anybody anymore. Everyone say goodnight to the bear. Oh, yes, Stephen Ransom, 47. Are they making Narnia Superstar? Well, no. That would be 1970s. But yeah, Narnia Superstar. Yeah, where they're all going around in bell bottoms and yeah, I think that's not copyrighted, so don't come after me, Andrew Wood Weber. I'm your biggest fan. You don't own intervals. But wow. Just wow. And rock and roll. I mean, is Aslan gonna be going around? I'm just imagining, that the opening from the the Pink Floyd The Wall, that theme with the Aslan pouncing around. I got my cat here, I still think that they are going to make Aslan a chick, which won't make sense because that means he won't have a mane if he's a chick. If it really is going to be Meryl Streep, if that's not just a rumor, because male lion and female lions look differently, really different. So, Chris York 95. I honestly think the only studio who could do a representation of Narnia is probably Angel Studios. Yes, you know what? I actually said that earlier. That's the only studios that is faithful and respectful to Christianity, though they have had a few duds, but that's okay. Their intentions there are correct. Like their Mother Cabrini one, they definitely could have done a lot better with that, in my humble opinion, because Mother Cabrini is awesome, and they made her very PMS-y. Just like A Knight's Tale, Queen soundtracks for everyone. Yeah, and you see, but the only problem, what's not a problem, rather, in The Knight's Tale, it was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. This is supposed to be serious. This is supposed to be a fantasy world. I don't know. I do not know. Unless, let me throw this idea out. Maybe, just maybe, they're not going to have the professor connected to the kids, and so it will be set in the 1940s, and it'll be a different professor. Well, that's just silly. Why not just do it right? And don't put rock and roll. Get a soundtrack. Get a soundtrack that suits the setting. I mean, gee whiz. One of the best things of the House of the Dragon, now that of course it sucks, is the music. The music still remained fantastic. Music in video games is great. I mean, wow, if you lately listened to the Skyrim music, all the Elder, I say the Elder Wand. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? That music is just fantastic. I love playing it. Also, the music to Red Dead Redemption, and that was a very good soundtrack because it was Western, so it was very true to that. Salty Traveling Sea says you're giving too much credit for even reading the books or knowing what you're talking about. They're globalists, dude, just making slop. Yeah, or they've read the books and they know what it's all about. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. Might be a bit of a strong analogy, but demons know Jesus. They understand it. They just are trying to destroy it. And they understand it better than a lot of people do. And of course, the father of lies, for sure. Yep. Bingo. It's getting points for destroying. Yeah. It's the same as if they were to go. Well, they did, didn't they? Didn't some idiots do that to the Mona Lisa? Or they tried, but there was a cover on it. If they went and put a sledgehammer to Michelangelo's David, the exact same thing. I was going to say, or if they burn down, and I'm like, oh, they have. Okay, yeah. That's why they're doing what they're doing. It's iconoclasm. Is that the right way to say it? Iconoclasm? There are the iconoclasts. There we go. That's a way I can say it without sounding like an Egypt. Oh boy. Stephen Ransom says, Salty, we may be giving the industry too much credit. The subject is irrelevant. The money is the subject. Yeah, well, there are definitely some Egypts at the top that are like, Narnia. People like Narnia. Let's do it. Oh, Greta Gerwig, she did Barbie. She's great. She made that made me like $1 billion. Okay, just do what you're doing, and I'll just say the stupid stuff I can say. Yeah, let's do that. It's the same way that people thought, like with the Rings of Prime, oh, well, yeah, you could make your own, Lord of the Rings story. You just have to put it in like, an elf or so and put in a few names. They don't realize that it's great literature. Or, Salty Traveling Sea says, not at all. It's part of a decade-long consistent pattern to destroy. Yeah, or even longer. Okay, thank you. He has a word for me. Let's see if I can say it. Iconoclasticism. There we are. Disinterest is its own kind of evil. Yeah, that's absolutely. But they understand what they're trying to destroy. That's why they destroy it. It's like, why does, in an exorcism movie, why does the devil freak out at holy water? Or the possessed freak out at holy water and not just average water? Because it knows. That's another example. Or, a vampire and garlic. A vampire and a crucifix. See, what are all the things that vampires? Oh, sunlight. Sunlight. Yeah. They know it. They understand it. And they know it will destroy them because they're evil. So the sun is the enemy of the vampire. The crucifix is the enemy. Holy water is the enemy of the enemy. All of those things. In Chinese culture, there's also a lot of stuff with, what was it? I did something about that. I did an essay on it. I did an essay on it that makes me so smart that I can't even remember it. But it was like stuff to do with mirrors and souls and a certain kind of a ghoul thing that had a certain name. But I digress. I'll look up the essay. Maybe I'll even do it, add it to my lore. I bring out some of my lore videos when you see them. You can probably tell when I'm adapting one of my essays because I said something about Professor sounding. All right. In Star Wars, Said Steven Ransom 47. In Star Wars, Luke reveals what's precious, showing evil what is precious. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Lightbringer. Salty traveling. See? Yep. It's a thing. Done a little tritely, but you know what I like, Harry Potter. Lily's mother's love for Harry. That was the most powerful spell there is. And what did Hermione say? Friendship. What was it? Oh yeah, she says cleverness. That's not important. Friendship, love, but cleverness actually is good. Yeah, and that's what made it so powerful for Luke. That is why what they did was such a crime. A crime, I tell you, in The Last Jedi. It was so bad that even Mark Hamill figured out that it was evil. Though in his case, it might have been his ego that had an issue more than anything else. But certainly the whole thing with Luke and Darth Vader and the fact that the son saved the father, the son's love. And it was ultimately the father's love for his son that defeated the emperor. Because I don't buy the somehow Palpatine survived stuff. That's ridiculous. Okay, Buddy Hepburn says, it's like Fright Night, where Peter Vincent wielding the crucifix initially is ineffective because he doesn't truly believe it has. He doesn't truly believe, so it has no power. Yes. Yeah, that was part of the lore there, and certainly it is the case. Yes. Sometimes I believe that those things, I have beliefs about those things in themselves, but we're talking about horror, not real life. But certainly, yeah. And the bad guy was able to just crumble, and then he crumbled before it. Yeah, he didn't believe. You see, and that's the other thing too. If you do not have this in your heart, if you have not internalized this, that you will crumble before evil. And that's why we see people. There are definitely people that are avoiding things because they don't want to recognize that there is evil in the world. But there's also maybe even the worst kind of evil, the people that are so self-absorbed, that are so lack of discerning, that they see it and they don't care. They just move on. They're disinterested. Steve Rinson says, like Jill's view on Star Trek, all new Star Wars is in the Calvin universe. Okay. Now, the Calvin universe, is that the one that they did with J.J. Abrams 2009? His buddy says, maybe I missed something there. Okay. Yep. That is okay. Yeah. Well, I can do that. Like, for example, coming up with this Knights of the Seven Kingdom, I can completely separate that in my head from what the rest of the story has been in the Game of Thrones world. Oh man, imagine this. They messed up Game of Thrones. They messed up House of the Dragon. So now I guess the only thing that's going to exist is going to be Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And they'll probably bait and switch us. First season's going to be great. Second season, they're going to deviate. Now, I am able to do that with Star Wars absolutely and completely. So, for example, I don't get upset anymore about anything Disney Star Wars does, because to me it just doesn't exist. It's in another universe. It's in another world. It's, in some dark corner of some fan fiction in an archive of their own, just, piss off. To me, the story is the way it was for most of my life. It was the 3 movies and the EU, the Thrawn trilogy, all of that stuff, and then the prequels. Even though the prequels had a lot of flaws in their execution, nothing wrong with the plot, nothing wrong with the general premise, and the EU material in the prequel era was top notch. That is Star Wars. Anything else can piss off. High five, LOL. Oh, got you. Oh, you know what? In this Duncan Egg thing, they actually have done more accurate casting. I think they're learning. See, oh no, JJ Trek, Kelvin Universe starts with the 2009 film. The new TV series are just their own kind of heck. Gotcha. Buddha would see entertainment the way he saw everything, said Stephen Ransom 47. It is inevitably suffering. You're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it. To quote Harry Potter, for the movie, rather. Gosh darn it, I love it. I love good entertainment. You see, and that's part of what I want to do here. First of all, I just like to share things because it's not a lie that I have had a very hard time with things because that's life. I had the sudden death of a friend. I mean, and totally out of the blue. We got cancer going on with one of my dearest sisters. Got all sorts of other stuff going on with my family. And for once, I'm doing pretty okay. Probably the greatest awful thing that happened was, when I had to put down my cat of 20 years. She was my baby little girl. But for the most part, I'm hanging in there. But, life's too short to waste your time on crap entertainment. I mean, unless you want to make fun of it. No judgment on people that want to laugh at it because it deserves to be laughed at. I plan to in my own time to laugh at the Wheel of Time stuff because I've started to look at some. It's just so bad. It's not ruining anything for me. I was afraid it was going to give me images in my head. But I mean, when you look at the dude who plays Matt, it's not Matt. Well, yeah, Matt. Heck, when you look at the dude who plays Lowell, when you look at Lowell, when you look at Nynaeve, when you look at Egwene, it's like that is not who they are. It's not even close. So how can this ruin it for me? And and the plot, I mean, oh my gosh, it's so stupid. I would reject that plot if that was something that the kids on the playground came up with. Kids will come up with all these elaborate plots that go along with their play. And it's like, they would have even rejected the plot of the Wheel of Time. They'd have been like, that's stupid. Let's see. That's Buddha. Mole. Okay, am I missing? Oh, are you talking about the Wheel of Time? Oh, doesn't one of them have a huge mole? I thought it was a wart. I'm getting it because I've seen that before, mole that you've said. Is that what you're referring? Yeah, I mean, why get a chick with a big, I mean, you know who has a big mole or a wart on their nose traditionally? Witches. I mean, really. But even they could have made her look pretty. I mean, God gave us makeup and other ways to make you look better, but my gosh, horrible casting. I mean, we want to look at pretty people. Dudes want to look at hot chicks, and women want to look at hot chicks too, because guess what? I look at them to get hints. It's like, oh, I could do my makeup like that, or I could do my hair like that. I mean, oh my gosh, all those 80s things, Jeannie Mac. Hell, I've done the Princess Leia hair sometimes. Not the bun one, not that awful one, but the one when she's in the Ewok village. We like to look at chicks too, even the straight ones, like me. Let's see. Stephen Ransom says Roald Dahl hated Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, I bet he did. He hated The Shining. Yeah. Well, The Shining really was different. He did his own kind of version miniseries in the 80s, 90s rather, which is pretty good. Salty Traveling Sea and Rand Rails, not Egwene in her parents' tavern common room. And not Rand Rails, not what? You see, it was pretty specific in the books, and I believe from Robert Jordan, from everything I've seen of him, he wasn't into gratuitous sex and even graphic sex. Like, there is no graphic sex in the books, even though characters do have sex. But not everyone. Like, I remember Nynaeve. She was really disapproving in the Wheel of Time books of Elaine, I believe, because she's like, she's not married. You don't have sex until you're married. And she didn't have sex until she was married. But I have heard that she and Lan do the dirty. And it's like, yeah, Lan wouldn't do that either. But also, the graphicness of it. And while we did know that there was polyamory, for example, that's what it was with Rand and Elaine and Avienda and Min. But yeah, that's just ick. And that was definitely not what he was all about. The sex was incidental to what was going on. I mean, sometimes they had some funny stuff, like with Matt, because that's who Matt was. Now, Steve and I are getting together a stream, and if we can find a time where he's awake and I'm awake and I'm not working, we're going to, or in an airplane, we're gonna do it. And I put it all together, even the pictures of the casting, like my perfect casting for the Wheel of Time, if I could do it. Let's see. Laugh out loud. You have been warned. Yeah, I can only imagine. Interesting question. Does the left select flowers for their beauty? What do you mean by select flowers? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to there. Salty Travesty, you'll love Show Min tattooed Portland by barista. What? They have tattoos? Well, I did see that some of the characters had like nose rings and things, bull rings. Oh gosh, Min's my favorite character. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you how my casting for Min is if you've seen the musical Les Miserables, the movie, the chick who plays Eponine, I think she would be a fantastic Min. If you look at her, she would be just perfect. So she's my casting for Min. And of course, the guys that I personally cast, they're good looking. Because guess what? They're all supposed to be good looking. And we still talk about it today about the Lord of the Rings, how good looking those guys are. Okay, not Frodo and Sam and all that, though they're cute, but it's Aragorn, ooh. And of course, David Winnan playing Faramir, and you have, oh gosh, I mean, they're so attractive. Imagine if they cast ugly people for all those roles. Imagine if they had a real ugly woman playing Arwen or Eowyn or Galadriel. Now, in the Rings of Prime, they do not have an ugly woman playing Galadriel, but they uglify her. Okay, objectified for their beauty, unlike casting ugly talent. Oh, okay. No, they don't. They don't believe in beauty. They don't even know what beauty is. Salty Rams, he says Matt comes from an alcoholic family of degenerates. Is awesome. What? Oh, dear. Well, I know the ridiculousness that they have Perrin having a wife that he kills at the beginning. I shouldn't laugh because that's a terrible thing to happen. But what a mess. What a mess. Maybe I'll have fun with it. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll all get together and do a stream or meet up on Prophet's channel. I don't know. But I can tell you right now what I'm reading. I am reading the Legacy of the Drow. It's one of the Forgotten Realms Dritz books. It's quadruple, not a trilogy. What do you call it when it's 4 books? I don't know, but it's 4 books. So after I finished The Wheel of Time, I decided to do some light reading, have stuff that wasn't too intense. Okay, off to the cardio later. Okay, well, enjoy. So I'm going to be reading that, and I'm going to be reading some Louis L'Amour books. So everyone needs to be reading some good entertainment. Now, I do need to go, but I want to thank everyone that has been here. We had Salty Traveling Sea. We had Stephen Ransom 47. We had Adega Outlaw. We had Buddy Hepburn. We had Snorter Pupus Kuber. And many, many others. If I miss anyone, please let me know. We had some newer faces. Let's see, where was it? It was at the beginning. Peepers 1. Thank you for being here. And my goodness. I'm trying to find... Wait, Snortopupus. Do you have a new @ Snortopupus? We need to talk. But he's not here, I know, because he's gone to bed. Again, so if I miss anyone, it's not intentional. That's the way it works. Oh, Stephen Ransom says, I'll never forget the first time I heard about the show Shameless celebrating lazy asses. Oh, dear. All right. And so those of you may or may not know that I have a different channel, a separate channel for my Catholic material called Catholic Splaining, because, I just decided it was more appropriate to what the content I want to do to just make it a separate channel. So let me put it up here if you have not already subscribed. If you're interested, Catholic Splaining, for everything Catholic Explained, that's where it'll be from here on out. Now, I haven't, of course, moved my Catholic Spinning content from this channel to the other one because there's rules or something about that, and I don't want to lose my channel. So we're not going to do that. So thank you very much, everybody. Watch good entertainment. Enjoy yourself. Love everyone. YOLO. Do the right thing. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain to not have rock and roll in any Narnia books. Not that we have any control over that, but you know what I mean.